Okay, here's the story. I pull into the Tallahassee Cinema 20. I go up to the kiosk. I purchase my ticket for Green Room. I walk up to the concession stand to pick up my nachos. I tell the woman, I just drove 2 hours to see this movie, Green Room. She says, I hope it was worth it. So then I have this experience. I watch Green Room. As I'm leaving the theater, she looks at me, flags me down, and says, so was it worth it? Then I said, Green Room stars Anton Yelchin, Patrick Stewart, and is directed by Jeremy Saulnier. So guys, this is a movie that has definitely been on my radar over the last month. I've constantly heard about this movie, Green Room, and then finally it gets a nationwide release last week. And of course, it wasn't showing at my theater. And I just had to see this movie. After watching the trailer, it looked like it was right up my alley. It's got punk rock music, it's got realistic violence. So what could go wrong? So Green Room is about this punk rock band, and they are really just completely broke. They're living from gig to gig, and they're so broke that they're actually having to siphon gasoline out of parking lot vehicles. But where the action takes place, they end up in this gig, and it's just like any other gig, except they get stuck in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's a skinhead club, and there has been a murder, and the punk band really gets stuck in this room. So then Darcy enters the fold, played by Patrick Stewart, and he is kind of the head guy that runs the club and also runs the illegal drug activity that's happening within. And he really shows up just to clean house. And so the punk band is really just in a horrible situation, because if they open that door, they don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna die, or are they gonna be able to walk away from this mess? Really, that's what they want. They just want to get the hell away from this skinhead club. And boy, does this movie escalate quickly. It is just intense. It grabs you by the throat and it does not let go until the very end. It is really that effective of a movie. I haven't seen a thriller this good in quite a long time. This is just excellent. Let me tell you what I loved about it. First off, I love the mixing of genres. It's kind of a fictional musical documentary, docudrama. That's like the first third of the movie. And then it turns into this suspense, thriller, even horror, because there are some horrific things that happen in this movie. It is violent. This is the most realistic depiction of violence I've seen on film too in quite a few years. When somebody gets killed in this movie, it feels like you're standing in that room and you are watching this atrocity happen right in front of you. That's how real it is. And you have dog attacks, you have knife attacks, you have gun violence, everything in this movie, but it all feels real. It feels like it's part of the story. It's not there for shock value, because you could see this type of violence happening in this type of situation. Also, another thing I really love about this movie is it's unpredictable. The violence is unpredictable. And for every character, especially in the punk band, every scene that happens, you have some sort of preconceived notion of what you think is gonna happen. And more times than not, the scene doesn't play out like you think it's gonna play out. And I found that really refreshing. Most of the time in these suspense movies, I'm usually able to figure out what's gonna happen. And even if I enjoy the movie, but not in Green Room. Green Room kept me guessing all the way through. And also, it's really a good conversation piece. I mean, every scene that happens, if you are with a group of people, you know, you'll be talking about what you would do in that scene, because there is no one right way to handle a situation like this. Because let's face it, how often are you ever gonna be in a situation this violent, this dire? And I also really love the final third of the movie. You got some characters there that they really have to think on their feet. They are in this situation and they're not like experts or anything. You know, they're not badasses. They are real people like you and me, and they have to figure out a way to get out of this mess. And it's funny because I just talked about this movie, Christy, yesterday, and the final girl in that movie was kind of in the same type of situation where she had to figure out a way to get out of this mess. And like I said, she was no professional. And finally, the performances in this movie, every actor is just at the top of their game. Most of the time, they don't feel like they're acting. It feels like you are witnessing something real. And especially Patrick Stewart and Anton Yelchin. They are just at the top of their game. I would not be surprised if we see some Oscar nominations for either one of these guys. It's really just great performances all around. Guys, overall, I have to give this movie Trapped on an Island. It is that good. I'm so glad I drove 2 hours to see this movie. It was well worth it. And like I said, it's one of those movies that you're gonna be talking about after it. It's just a really cool experience. And also, one of the questions in the movie was, what band would you listen to if you were trapped on an island? And it's a good question to ask, and that's like the closer of the movie, and the last scene of the movie is actually really funny. But if I had to pick one band to listen to if I was trapped on an island, that is a tough question to answer. It would either be Tool, The Cure, or Joy Division. Anyway, guys, what did you think of Green Room? I hope this movie is playing near you. If it's playing a couple hours away and you got the time, I say go see it. It's that good. Now, I know you could illegally watch it, but I don't do that. I'm not that type of person. I like to support my movies. And also, I forgot to mention, this is A24. This is one of my favorite studios now. They did The Witch, they did It Follows, and now they've actually done Green Room. And wow, what a great studio. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and Drumdum out.